Everybody, welcome to Raising Vibrations with myself, Simon. Today, guys, I'm going to be giving you a little bit of insight into the Pluto-Uranus square that has just been recently taking place for us. In fact, I'd prepared quite a lengthy video on explaining the dynamics that were taking place at this stage, but I felt that I could actually capture the essence of this planetary transition with just a short but very descriptive and enriched conversation with you guys. I had a whole chart planned out and showing you how the symbols were working, but I felt that I could actually just do it in a very short video. I didn't want to take up too much of your time. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you guys the nature of the archetypes that are involved, and also begin to explain a little bit about what it actually symbolizes for us. The first thing is that we're looking at the archetype of Uranus. Okay, now on the left hand side over there you can actually see that the lightning is transitioned with the volcano eruption, and that's this Pluto-Uranus experience. And what's manifesting over here for us is that it's the sixth square, and it was on Monday the 15th, so I bet you guys must have been feeling that. I definitely felt it. It was incredibly intense in that sense as well. Basically what was happening is that Uranus reflects to us three very, very deep and main core evolutionary dynamics. Okay, the first thing is that it is a transformer. What it basically does is it takes all forms of definitions that have been crystallized in the Capricorn archetype. Remember, Capricorn comes before Aquarius. So what Aquarius will do, or Uranus will do, is it will say, okay, this definition, this crystallization, this form that has manifested itself is now outdated in some way, or it's limiting. And so what we need to do is we need to detach and break free and kind of look at it from a different perspective, and through that experience allow access for a deeper awareness of whatever it is that is being changed. So it's a transforming archetype, and how it manifests for us in terms of the nature of our lives is that because it's circulating on the outside of Saturn in our consciousness, okay, in terms of the actual zodiac itself, because it's circulating outside of it, in other words Saturn and then Uranus, it's something that we can't actually physically see in our experience. We don't see it coming, because Saturn essentially reflects to us where our limitations are and our boundaries are on this physical plane. And at the same time, when Uranus is skirting on the outside, whenever Uranus breaks that form or interacts with our Saturn construct, we experience it as shock, okay, or a sense of like things that are fragmented and breaking in that way. So the Saturn creates the form, and then Uranus's natural instinct is to break that form to allow liberation to take place, i.e. like a paradigm shift. So think of a chicken that's existing inside of an egg. As it breaks free from the shell represents Saturn, what you're limited by, and Uranus is that thing that's breaking it. So in terms of this Uranus square, now that it's interacting with Pluto, Pluto will reflect the nature of our soul's desires and unconscious emotional attachments. In other words, where we are emotionally investing our attachments to that give us a sense of power, something that is known. Okay, and a very simple example can be, if you're having a conversation with somebody and you're really, really familiar with the subject that you're talking about, you feel empowered in the experience because you have an unconscious emotional association with it. You're not feeling vulnerable. You're empowered in that way. But in terms of evolution to work, we would need to confront our limitations where they are existing, where our vulnerabilities are, and look at them and say, can we explore, can we expand our relationship to something that is known, something that gives us a sense of security. And when we embrace that type of thinking, when we choose to step outside our boundary, our comfort zone, we allow evolution to exist, because we influenced in the nature of our reality through seeing it as a new beginning, a new start, a fresh psychological approach. So when you're having these two guys squaring each other at this stage, you're having this interaction where on one hand Uranus is liberating and creating the impulse to break free and shatter all definitions, and you're having Pluto on the other hand saying, hey, we've got to take this opportunity to refresh our psychology. We've got to take this opportunity to look at the nature of where our deepest unconscious emotional attachments are, and how they are facilitating non-emotional growth in that sense. So you would have noticed that when you would have been interacting with people, there would be incredible amounts of frustration. There would be incredible amounts of like sensitivity and blockages or anger, etc., etc. a lot of these times what's happening is that into your awareness, what's coming available to you is where there are outdated or clogged or essentially like patterns of consciousness, patterns of thoughts, patterns of emotional realities that are bound together through pre-existing ways of being. In other words, things that have manifested for you in the past that you are attached to, that are no longer serving you for your new evolutionary journey. In other words, that as Uranus and Pluto are squaring each other, they're revealing to you aspects of yourself that need to be liberated from, that need to be brought to the surface and let go, and to literally allow yourself to see how that can be inhibiting the nature of your evolution. Now, this is a very personal description that I'm giving you right now. In terms of humanity's collective, we're feeling the sense of oppression and the sense of like the old out definitions that have caused us to feel like we're limited in our capacity to break free. So I believe there was like all these marches that were taking place in America, and all out the world, there was just an incredible amount of like, the things are stuck and we need to break free from it. But the nature of this breaking free was incredibly volatile. And there was this liberation, the sense of breaking free from all these conditioning patterns and such that were inhibiting us. So I like to see it as like the flea that's been stuck in this jar and it's been jumping this high. And now all of a sudden the lid's been taken off, and now that's how far it's jumping. And Uranus is saying, come on, you can jump further than this, you can jump higher than this, as it were. Because its natural state is to jump higher than that. It's just been limited by its capacity or its conditioning. So this freedom and the sense of breaking free has been associated now with our sixth Uranus and Pluto square. And there's something really interesting about the square as well that I wanted to highlight to you guys, was that the day after, I bet you felt really, really sort of liberated by experiences, and also had some sense of clarity after, there might have been some conflicts with some people, maybe even, had conflicts with very close family members, etc., etc. That's okay, as long as you apply the Neptune and Pisces thing, which is forgiveness and acceptance and healing. In other words, allowing yourself to understand the nature of what these conflicts were about, and then to liberate yourself by giving yourself the love to say, okay, that wasn't working for anymore. I'm letting go of it. I'm going to work better at it, etc., etc. Giving yourself that opportunity to clear out all that nonsense and noise that has been, injected into us for God knows how long. So that's the approach that I would like to suggest to you guys, is to really get into that space of allowing yourself, firstly, inner security completely, and allowing yourself to understand yourself in relation to another person, and to really heal that process, to give it a sense of like, okay, this is, like I've explained it before, this is how this went down. I understand how this has been inhibiting me at this point in time, and now I'm going to try and do better for it. I'm now aware of it, and I can deal with the situation in new ways. And of course, the context of this whole Pluto-Uranus square has been the fact that Mars has been in Aquarius. I mean, that's just beautiful, how Mars has been moving through Aquarius, and it's been triggering off the Uranus square. And then you've also got Saturn in Scorpio at like 29-30 degrees. So you can see that there's been a complete liberation and detachment. There's been a crisis as well of how fixations have kept us controlled in some way. So that Saturn in Scorpio, and also making it's not making a square to Mars yet. I don't think it will, but that's what's been basically, stimulating this very deep unconscious Pluto-Uranus square. Now the next one will be manifesting sometime in April, and that will be the last one. And I suspect that will be quite an intense one as well. In that sense, I think it will be the last sort of like, let's get rid of all this type of stuff. One thing that was really interesting actually was the nodal axis. The nodal axis was in the nodes of the moon. In other words, south node, north node was in Aries, Libra, and then you had Venus actually making a conjunction to Pluto, and probably making it right now, which is why your inner relationship to yourself and how you're valuing yourself and how you're identifying, the sense of needs that you have in yourself and your abundance, etc., etc., has really come up for review. And you've definitely probably changed a lot of value systems within yourself. I mean, that was what the Venus-Pluto conjunction was about at the time that this Pluto-Uranus square was taking place. And then, of course, the nodes in Aries, Libra, which is naturally what Venus is experiencing, as well as Mars. So there was a massive information coming through from the cosmos, reflecting to us how we are internally changing, which is pretty neat in that sense. Cool. Okay, guys. Well, I really hope that that gave you some information about this Pluto-Uranus square, the sixth one. Be sure to check out the new moon in Capricorn video that will be coming out very shortly. I've definitely got some lots of information about that experience. It's going to be a very reflective time for us. You know, in the northern hemisphere at the moment, we're moving now into complete winter, so it's a case of get inside your home and watch how the weather outside creates this abysmal experience, but yeah, you are inside reflecting and really returning back to the center of yourself. So this new moon in Capricorn cycle is going to be very, very interesting for us in the sense that we're going to retreat. We will want to retreat into ourselves and experience that. And it's just a case of allowing that process to manifest. There's a lot of hindsight that's going to be taking place at this stage as well. You know, the 6 Uranus Pluto square has also been one of culmination. It's not a beginning aspect, it's ending the cycle. So there's a lot of internal changing that's going to be taking place for us. Great. Okay guys, have a fantastic evening, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.